All right, I've got me a cup of tea. It's Yorkshire tea with oat milk, splash of oat milk, and it's great tea. Speaking of Yorkshire, we're just going to dive right in. I recently finally finished Agnes Grey. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have already seen this, but when I went to England last month to visit my girlfriend, we ended up going to Haworth, where the Bronte parsonage and everything is, and got to see the parsonage, the church, the graveyard, the kind of main street up of Haworth, and it was coming in across like over the moors was really cool. It was super foggy, super like kind of a little drizzly. It was you could barely see in front of you. It felt like Wuthering Heights, which was the first. I think I may have mentioned it before, but it's been a while. I want to read through all of the Bronte's books over the next year or two, in no hurry necessarily. But I started with Wuthering Heights, then Agnes Grey, which I believe Wuthering Heights and Agnes Grey were published together in a 3-volume set, 2 volumes of Wuthering Heights, and then this was the 3rd volume. And then I've got Jane Eyre that I'll be reading next. So I'm basically going in publishing order, more or less, of all 3 of the Bronte sisters' works. And this was the second one. I didn't like it as much as Wuthering Heights. Didn't expect to, necessarily. But yeah, it was still good. I still liked it. And reading it after going to, their part of England was pretty great. And then last night I sat down and read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and I may try to do Through the Looking Glass tonight or sometime later this week. They don't take really long to read. May have been like an hour and a half, something like that. It's a fairly short novel. I mean, it's a children's novel, but it was kind of wacky and kind of everything you think it's going to be. But it was fun, and I'm glad I sat down, took the time to read it. And then here's one that it's Le Morte d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory. And I read about 100 pages of this sometime last year, and I just read another 100 pages of it. It's so episodic, I don't feel the need to sit down and read like necessarily the whole thing at any given time. So I think I'm just going to take my time, and whenever I feel like it, it's separated into books that are anywhere between 25 and 70 pages, I think I've found so far. Some might be longer. I don't think any are shorter. I think it's 21 books, something like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it, but I'm taking it piecemeal. Like I said, so episodic, so repetitive. I think if I tried to read too much at once, my enjoyment would rapidly wane, to say the least. And so one of the reasons I picked this up again was due to this book, even though that Le Morte d'Arthur is not mentioned in this book. Meetings with Remarkable Manuscripts, it still kind of took me back to that like medieval period, which I guess that would be late medieval, something like that. So the books in this, or the manuscripts in this, Christopher de Hamel takes you through in a very conversational, very approachable, very fun way, and takes you through these medieval manuscripts, where they think they originated, some kind of facts about how they were made, stuff like that. But it's done in a really, really interesting way. It's got great illustrations kind of throughout. It's got me very interested in kind of like the medieval period, which is something that's never really happened before. I had a medieval literature class in college, and I think I dropped it halfway through because I was just overwhelmed on many levels. I think during that time, but also I didn't care enough to like put forth the effort, and it was kind of like an added class. I think if I could go back now and do it with no kind of pressure, I would really, really enjoy it. But I've found this book very, very interesting, and I actually have a copy of a second book from the same author that dives into, so this is 12 manuscripts that dives into 12 people that kind of took care of manuscripts and collected them, and are largely the reason we have so many of them left today is because these people put them away, collected them, took care of them, or we wouldn't have nearly so many of these manuscripts left. And it's just very, very interesting reading, and I think anyone could pick this up if you have the slightest interest and really enjoy it, because it is, I mean, there's some level of academic like information in here, but it's put in such a way that you almost don't realize you're getting really good information. But he kind of frames it as conversation, one-sided conversation, but you know, that's all you can do really in a book between him and the reader. And yeah, really, really good. And then I'm finally, last night, picked up Les Mis again. I've got a few tabs, not very many, but I was supposed to read this with my girlfriend in December. December was a very hectic month, to say the least, especially working in retail, and just a lot of things going on. And so neither one of us finished. She got much, much further along than I did. So I'm going to try to catch up somewhat. I think I'm in a place where I can actually enjoy this now, which is what you want when you're reading something. But this Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition is just beautiful. I don't like the deckled edges like on a practical level, but they look really nice. The flaps, the art, everything is just super, super cool. But read about, I think, 15-20 pages last night. I'm going to dive into it some more tonight, I think, or this afternoon, and kind of keep chugging along maybe. We will see how it goes, but I'm feeling hopeful. I enjoyed what I read last night, much more than what I read in December. So I think that is something positive. So, that beats a good cup of tea and a book, honestly. But yeah, that's just a little, I guess, reading update from me. I've read all sorts of other random things. I think kind of last month, the beginning of the year, or mainly last month and a half, I read a lot of just kind of like thrillers, and especially when I was traveling, you know, it's just, and getting back and time being weird and stuff, it was just very easy to dive in and read something very casually. But I'm kind of excited to be digging back into some more meaty literature, and a lot of classics, really, right now. So, yeah. If you've read any of these books, feel free to comment and let me know what you thought. And I'll hopefully be back soon. Who knows? You know, I can't stick to a schedule, so I'm not even going to try to set one. Yeah. Till next time.